The stars looked cold and distant through the cracked viewing screen of the Zephyrian ship called Eternal Dawn. Commander Kethaval stood 7 feet tall, his crystalline skin showing deep red patterns that meant worry and fear. His large hands gripped the metal railing as he watched his people's ships floating helplessly in the dark space around him. 3 weeks ago, everything had been going well. The Zephyrian fleet of 12 massive ships carried over 100,000 of his people away from their dying home planet. They had been traveling for 3 years through empty space, looking for a new world to call home. The ships were huge and powerful, each one the size of a small city. Inside them lived families, children, and old people who had trusted Kethaval to lead them to safety. But now everything was wrong. It started when the Star's Edge, their navigation ship, had a terrible accident. The main engine exploded without warning, sending pieces of metal flying through space. The explosion was so big that it damaged the engines of 5 other ships. The blast also sent out waves of energy that broke the special drives that let them travel faster than light. Now the fleet was stuck. They could not move forward to find their new home. They could not go back to their old planet, which was already dead. They could only sit in the cold, empty space and wait for their power to run out. Sub-Commander Veltara walked up to Kethaval. Her skin showed yellow and orange patterns that meant she was angry and frustrated. She was smaller than the commander, but just as strong. Her voice was low and serious when she spoke. "Commander, the engineers say they need at least 6 months to fix the main drives, but our power will only last 2 more months, maybe less if we keep the life support systems running for everyone." Kethaval's skin turned darker red. The Zephyrians had always been proud warriors. For thousands of years they had never asked anyone for help. They solved their own problems and fought their own battles. But now they faced something that strength and courage could not fix. "What about the children?" he asked. 15 of them got sick yesterday. The air recycling system on ship number 7 is failing. We moved them to ship number 3, but that ship is already crowded. Kethaval closed his eyes. He could picture the children in his mind. Little ones who had never seen their real home planet. They had been born on the ships during the long journey. This floating metal world was all they knew. Now even that was being taken away from them. "Sir," Veltara said quietly, "I think we should send out a distress signal." The commander's skin flashed bright red with anger. "Never. We are Zephyrians. We do not beg for help from strangers. But Commander, if someone is out there who could help us, who would help us? Every species we have ever met has tried to conquer us or steal from us. The galaxy is full of hunters and thieves. If we send out a signal, we will only bring danger to our people." Veltara looked out at the other ships floating nearby. She could see the lights growing dimmer as they tried to save power. Soon those lights would go out forever. What if we are wrong about other species? What if there are good people out there who would help us? Kethaval turned away from her. There are no good people in the galaxy except us. Everyone else thinks only of themselves. But even as he said it, he knew he might be making a terrible mistake. His duty was to keep his people alive, not to protect Zephyrian pride. Still, everything he had learned in his long life told him that asking for help would only bring more trouble. Days passed slowly. The engineers worked day and night to fix the broken engines, but they needed parts that the fleet did not have. The power levels kept dropping. More children got sick. The old people started to die from the stress and the bad air. On the 20th day after the accident, Veltara came to see Kethaval again. This time her skin was pale blue, which meant sadness and despair. "Commander, we lost 12 people yesterday. The doctors say we will lose more every day now. The air is getting worse, and we cannot fix it without power." Kethaval stared at the report she handed him. The numbers were clear and terrible. In 1 month, maybe less, everyone on the ships would be dead. "Sir, please, let me send the distress signal. What is the worst that could happen? If bad people come, we can fight them. We still have weapons. But if good people come, maybe they can save us." The commander looked at his reflection in the dark viewing screen. His proud warrior face looked tired and old. Behind him, he could see the other ships of his fleet, full of people who trusted him to keep them alive. "Do it," he said finally. "Send the signal. But prepare our weapons too. If anyone comes looking for trouble, we will give them a fight they will never forget." Veltara's skin brightened to hopeful green. She ran to the communication station and began working on the distress signal. It would take several hours to prepare a message that other species might understand. As she worked, Kethval wondered if he had just saved his people or doomed them. In 3 days, the signal would be strong enough to reach other star systems. Then they would find out what kind of universe they really lived in. The commander did not know that 47 human ships were already traveling toward them, ready to help total strangers in need. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started beeping on his ship. He was a tall man, with brown hair and calm blue eyes, who had been exploring space for 15 years. His ship, the New Horizon, was leading a group of 47 human ships on a mission to map new star systems and look for planets where people could live. "Captain, you need to see this," called Dr. Lisa Stone from her workstation. She was a smart woman who studied alien languages and cultures. Her job was to figure out how to talk to new species if they ever found any. Jake walked over to her station and looked at the strange patterns dancing across her screen. "What am I looking at, Lisa?" "It's a distress signal, sir. But it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. The math is incredibly complex, and there are these weird emotional patterns mixed in with the data. I think it's from aliens." Jake felt his heart beat faster. Humans had only met 2 other intelligent species before, and both meetings had been difficult. The first aliens they met were friendly, but very different from humans. The second group tried to attack Earth and steal human technology. Now there might be a third species out there, and they were in trouble. "Can you tell where it's coming from?" Jake asked. "Yes, sir. About 3 days away at full speed. The signal is getting weaker, which means their power is running out." Jake walked to his captain's chair and pressed a button to talk to all the ships in his fleet. "This is Captain Morrison calling Admiral Collins on the Freedom's call. We have a situation here." Admiral Pete Collins was an older man with gray hair who commanded all the human ships. He had fought in 2 wars and was known for making smart decisions under pressure. His voice came through the speakers a few minutes later. "I'm here, Jake. What's going on?" "We picked up what looks like an alien distress signal. Dr. Stone thinks they're in serious trouble." There was silence for a long moment. Then Admiral Collins spoke again. "How far away?" 3 days, sir." "All right, send me everything you have. I'll call a meeting of all ship captains in 1 hour." The meeting happened on a video call between all 47 ships. Captain Morrison explained what they had found while Dr. Stone showed the other captains the strange signal patterns. The room was quiet as everyone thought about what this meant. Captain Susan Walsh from the medical ship Mercy spoke first. "If they're really in trouble, we have to help them. That's what humans do." Captain Robert Kim from the cargo ship New Texas nodded. "But we don't know anything about these aliens. What if it's a trap? What if they're dangerous? What if they're just scared and dying?" asked Captain Amy Rodriguez from the science ship Discovery. "We can't just leave them out there." Admiral Collins listened to all the captains talk for an hour. Finally, he made his decision. "We're going to help them, but we're going to be careful about it. Captain Morrison, take your ship and 2 others ahead of the main fleet. Make first contact and see what's going on. The rest of us will follow 1 day behind you." Jake chose Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes to pilot the first contact shuttle. Ryan was a good pilot who stayed calm in dangerous situations. Dr. Stone would come too, along with Marine Colonel Beth Turner. Beth was a tough woman who could protect them if things went wrong. It took 3 days to reach the location of the distress signal. When they got there, Jake could not believe what he saw. 12 enormous ships floated in space, each one 10 times bigger than his largest human vessel. But something was clearly wrong. Several of the ships looked damaged and their lights were very dim. "My God," whispered Dr. Stone. "Look at the size of those things. There must be thousands of people on each ship." "Captain," said Ryan from the pilot's seat, "I'm getting a response to our signals. They know we're here." On the main screen, a face appeared that made everyone gasp. It was clearly not human. The being had crystalline skin that seemed to glow with purple light. It was much taller than a human, with large eyes and a face that looked both noble and desperate. Dr. Stone worked frantically with her computers to translate what the alien was saying. After a few minutes, she looked up with excitement. "Captain, I think I understand some of it. He's saying something like unknown ships and peaceful intentions, and I think he's asking who we are." Jake stepped forward so the alien could see him clearly. He spoke slowly and clearly. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship New Horizon. We received your distress signal. We want to help you." The alien's skin changed to a different color, and he spoke again. Dr. Stone listened carefully and typed rapidly on her computer. "He says his name is Kethval and he commands this fleet. They're called Zephyrians. Captain, I think they're refugees. They had to leave their home planet and now their ships are broken." Jake felt a deep sadness for these strangers. He knew what it was like to be far from home and in danger. "Tell him that humans want to help. Ask him what they need." Dr. Stone worked for several more minutes to translate Jake's words. When the alien heard them, his skin changed color again, this time to what looked like surprise and hope. "Captain," Dr. Stone said quietly, "I don't think anyone has ever offered to help them before. He seems shocked that we would want to help strangers." "Well," Jake said with a small smile, "he's about to learn what humans are really like." The first meeting between humans and Zephyrians had begun. Neither species knew it yet, but this moment would change both of their civilizations forever. The shuttle bay of the Eternal Dawn was so big that Ryan's small human shuttle looked like a toy inside it. As they landed, Ryan whistled softly. "I've never seen anything this huge. This one room is bigger than our entire ship." Dr. Stone checked her translation computer one more time. She had been working for 6 hours straight to improve communication with the Zephyrians. Her eyes were tired, but she was excited. Remember, their skin changes color with their emotions. Purple means caution. Red means anger or fear. Try to stay calm and friendly. Colonel Beth Turner checked her sidearm. She was not expecting trouble, but her job was to keep the other humans safe. "How many of them will be meeting us?" "Just 2, Dr. Stone replied. "Commander Keithvale and his second-in-command, Veltara. They're being very careful, too." The shuttle door opened and the 3 humans stepped out. Jake had to tilt his head back to see the ceiling of the alien ship. Everything was built for people much taller than humans. The walls were made of a smooth silver metal that seemed to glow with its own light. Commander Kethval stood waiting for them with Sub-Commander Veltara beside him. Up close, the aliens were even more impressive. They were both over 7 feet tall, with crystalline skin that sparkled in the light. Right now, both of their skins showed deep purple patterns. Jake stepped forward and tried to remember what Dr. Stone had taught him about Zephyrian customs. He placed his right hand over his heart and bowed slightly. "Commander Kethval, I am Captain Jake Morrison. Thank you for allowing us onto your ship." Dr. Stone quickly translated his words. When Kethval heard them, his skin flickered with surprise. He had not expected such politeness from aliens. He copied Jake's gesture and spoke in his own language. "He says welcome to the Eternal Dawn," Dr. Stone translated. "He is honored to meet the first humans." Veltara stepped forward and spoke rapidly. Her skin was showing flashes of gold, which Dr. Stone had learned meant curiosity. "She wants to know why we came here," Dr. Stone said. "She asks if we want something from them." Jake looked directly at Kethval. "We came because you called for help. Humans believe that when someone is in trouble, you help them if you can. We don't want anything from you except to know that you are safe." When Dr. Stone translated this, both aliens' skin changed color dramatically. The purple faded away, replaced by silver patterns that meant amazement. Kethval and Veltara spoke quickly to each other in their own language. "Captain," Dr. Stone whispered, "I think they've never met anyone who offered help without wanting something back." Kethval spoke again, and this time his voice sounded different. Less proud, more tired. "He's telling us about their situation, Dr. Stone said as she listened. Their home planet's sun died faster than expected. They had to leave with whatever ships they could build. They've been traveling for 3 years looking for a new home. Jake felt his heart break for these people. 3 years floating in space, carrying their entire civilization with them. How many people are on the ships? After Dr. Stone translated the question, Kethaval answered with numbers that made all the humans gasp. Over 100,000, Dr. Stone said quietly. Children, families, old people, everyone they could save. And now they're trapped here, Jake said. It was not a question. Veltara spoke up, her skin showing dark blue sadness. Dr. Stone listened and her face grew worried. Captain, it's worse than we thought. Their main engines exploded 3 weeks ago. They can't repair them without parts. They don't have. Their power is running out. She says they have maybe 6 weeks before the life support systems fail completely. Colonel Turner stepped forward. Captain, we need to call Admiral Collins right away. Jake nodded. Dr. Stone asked them if we can bring our engineers to look at their ships. Tell them we want to help fix their problems. When Kethaval heard this, translation, his skin flashed red with anger. No. We do not need charity from strangers. Zephyrians solve their own problems. But Veltara put her hand on his arm and spoke quickly. Her skin was showing urgent yellow patterns. Dr. Stone could understand enough to know what she was saying. She's reminding him about the children, Dr. Stone whispered to Jake. She's saying pride won't keep them alive. Kethaval was quiet for a long moment. Finally, his skin faded to gray, which meant defeat and sadness. Tell your engineers they may look, but we will not beg. You're not begging, Jake said firmly. You're accepting help from friends. 2 hours later, Chief Engineer Sam Parker was floating in a small work pod next to one of the damaged Zephyrian ships. Sam was a short, stocky man who had been fixing spaceships for 20 years. He had never seen anything like Zephyrian technology. Captain, Sam's voice came through the radio. This is incredible. Their engines are about 100 years ahead of ours, but they're built all wrong. They focused on making them powerful instead of making them safe. That's why they exploded. Can we fix them? Jake asked. Maybe, but it won't be easy. We'll need to basically rebuild the engine cores from scratch. And even then, I'm not sure our technology is compatible with theirs. Admiral Collins had arrived, with the rest of the human fleet. Now all 47 ships were working together to help the stranded aliens. The humans brought over food, medical supplies, and spare parts. Dr. Jenny Walsh, the fleet's chief medic, was on ship number 7, treating sick Zephyrian children. She had never worked on aliens before, but she discovered that they were not so different from humans on the inside. The children were scared and weak, but they smiled when she gave them medicine that made them feel better. Meanwhile, marine technician Tony Cruz was working deep inside a Zephyrian engine room with a team of alien engineers. They could not talk to each other much, but they communicated through drawings and hand gestures. Tony showed them how humans made their engines safer, while the aliens showed him how to work with their advanced power systems. But the biggest breakthrough came when Dr. Stone discovered something amazing about Zephyrian communication. They did not just talk with words. They also shared emotions through their skin colors and special sound patterns. Captain, she said excitedly, if we can adapt their emotion-sharing system to our computers, we can coordinate this repair effort much better. Instead of just talking, we can actually feel what each other means. Jake looked out at the two fleets working together in space. Human ships looked tiny next to the massive Zephyrian vessels, but humans were everywhere, crawling through alien engine rooms and medical bays, bringing hope to a desperate people. Do it, he said. Let's show them what humans can really do when we work together. 2 months had passed since the humans arrived to help the Zephyrian fleet. The repair work was going better than anyone had hoped, but it was also bringing the two species closer together in ways nobody expected. Chief Engineer Sam Parker wiped sweat from his forehead as he climbed out of the engine room on the Star's Edge. Working inside Zephyrian ships was hard because everything was built for people much taller than humans, but Sam had made a good friend during these long weeks. Master, Engineer Kelnus was waiting for him with 2 cups of Zephyrian tea. Kelnus was an old alien whose skin showed calm blue patterns most of the time. He had been fixing ships for over 60 years, and at first he thought human technology was too simple to be useful. Now he knew better. "The new safety system is working perfectly," Sam said as he took the strange-tasting tea. "Your engines are now 40% more stable than before." Kelnus's skin flickered with happy gold patterns. "And your gravity shields are making our ships faster too. My people never thought to combine safety with speed like humans do." Sam smiled. Even though they came from different worlds and looked completely different, he and Kelnus both loved solving problems with machines. They had spent many nights working together, drawing pictures and using simple words to share ideas when the translation computers could not keep up. On another ship, Dr. Jenny Walsh was teaching a group of young Zephyrian medical students how to use human healing methods. The alien doctors were amazed by how humans treated sickness. Zephyrian medicine was very advanced, but it focused on fixing problems after they happened. Human medicine tried to prevent problems before they started. "This small injection will keep the children from getting sick in the first place," Jenny explained to Dr. Nithara, a tall female Zephyrian with kind green eyes. "We call it a vaccine. Humans think ahead to prevent suffering," Dr. Nithara said in careful English. She had been learning the human language from Jenny. "This is wise. We will teach this to our people." But the biggest changes were happening between the leaders of both fleets. Captain Jake Morrison spent hours every day with Commander Keith Vall, learning about Zephyrian culture and history. The proud alien commander had slowly opened up about the tragedy that destroyed his people's home. "Our son began dying much faster than our scientists predicted," Kethaval told Jake one evening as they stood on the observation deck of the Eternal Dawn. His skin showed deep sadness patterns as he remembered. "We had maybe 2 years to build ships and save as many people as we could. Many families had to be separated. Many friends were left behind." Jake felt a heavy sadness in his chest. "How do you carry that weight, knowing that you're the last of your people?" "Some days I do not know," Kethaval admitted. "But then I see Zephyrian children playing with human children in the ship corridors, and I remember that life continues. Maybe being the last is not as important as making sure there will be more." The friendship between humans and Zephyrians was growing stronger every day. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Hayes had started teaching some young Zephyrians how to pilot human shuttles. Marine Colonel Beth Turner was learning Zephyrian fighting techniques, which were beautiful to watch like a dance but deadly effective. Dr. Lisa Stone was working with Zephyrian Communications Officer Nexron to create the hybrid communication system she had discovered. They could now share emotions and feelings along with words, making it much easier for both species to work together. But not everyone was happy about the growing friendship. Sub-Lieutenant Zaktar was a young Zephyrian warrior who believed his people were becoming weak by accepting human help. He was tall and strong, with angry red patterns always showing on his skin. Zaktar thought it was shameful for proud Zephyrians to take charity from aliens. "We should face death with honor, rather than live as beggars," he told a group of other young warriors. "Our ancestors would be ashamed of us." "Our ancestors are dead," replied Lieutenant Morchin, another young Zephyrian. "But our children are alive because of human medicine. Which is more important?" Zaktar's skin flashed bright, red with rage. "You have been corrupted by these soft aliens. Zephyrians do not need help from anyone." That night, Zaktar and 6 other warriors snuck into the main engine room of the Eternal Dawn. They planned to sabotage the repairs so that their people would have to face death with honor instead of accepting more help from humans. They did not know that Tony Cruz was working late that night, trying to fix a problem with one of the power cables. Tony was deep inside a maintenance tunnel when he heard voices speaking in Zephyrian. He could not understand the words, but he could tell the voices sounded angry and secretive. Tony quietly climbed out of the tunnel and saw the young Zephyrian warriors working on something near the main power core. They had tools and were disconnecting important connections. Tony realized they were trying to break the repairs. He pressed his emergency communication button. "Security alert. This is Tony Cruz in Engine Room 7. We have Zephyrian saboteurs trying to damage the repairs. The alarm started ringing throughout both fleets. Colonel Beth Turner and a team of human Marines rushed to the engine room, along with Zephyrian security forces led by Sub-Commander Veltara. When Zaktar saw them coming, he pulled out a Zephyrian energy weapon. "Stay back. We will not let you make our people weak." "Put down your weapon," Veltara ordered. Her skin was showing furious orange patterns. "You are endangering everyone on this ship." "I am saving our honor," Zaktar shouted back. But his sabotage had caused more damage than he realized. The power core began to overload and dangerous energy started building up. If it exploded, it would destroy not just the Eternal Dawn, but several human ships nearby. "Everyone evacuate now," shouted Sam Parker as he ran into the engine room. But there was not enough time. In 30 seconds, the explosion would kill thousands of people from both species. Commander Kethaval appeared in the doorway. His skin was showing the silver patterns of a leader making a life-or-death decision. "Zaktar, you have a choice. Let us save our people together, or watch them all die for your pride." Zaktar looked around at the humans and Zephyrians working, desperately to stop the explosion he had caused. For the first time, he saw that the humans were risking their own lives to save Zephyrian strangers. His weapon dropped from his hands. "What do I do?" he asked quietly. "Help us," Kethaval said simply. Working together, humans and Zephyrians managed to stop the explosion with only seconds to spare. As the danger passed, Zaktar realized something important. True strength was not about refusing help. True strength was about helping others, even when it was difficult or dangerous. Later, as the crisis ended, Captain Morrison found Commander Kethaval standing alone on the observation deck again. "Your people and my people almost died tonight because of pride," Kethaval said. "But they lived because they chose to work together. I think I am finally learning what humans already know." "What's that?" Jake asked. "That we are stronger together than we are alone." The morning of the departure ceremony was bright and clear. The repairs were finally complete after 3 months of hard work. The Zephyrian ships hummed with perfect power, their engines running smoother and safer than they ever had before. The human fleet was arranged in an honor formation around the alien vessels, ready to see their new friends off to their new home. But first, there was something important that needed to happen. In the main conference room of the Eternal Dawn, representatives from both species gathered for a historic meeting. Commander Kethaval stood at the head of the table, his crystalline skin showing the silver patterns of great importance. Beside him stood Sub-Commander Veltara, whose skin sparkled with gold happiness patterns. Admiral Pete Collins sat across from them with Captain Jake Morrison and the other human fleet commanders. Between them lay a document that would change the future of both civilizations. 3 months ago we were strangers, Kethaval began, speaking in the English he had learned from Dr. Stone. The Zephyrian people were dying in the cold dark of space. We believed we were alone in a universe that did not care about us. He paused and looked at each human face around the table. We were wrong. We learned that there are good people in the galaxy. People who will risk their own safety to help strangers. People who share their food and medicine with those who have nothing to give back. Admiral Collins nodded respectfully. "Commander, we learned something too. We learned that helping others makes us stronger, not weaker. Working with your people has taught us new ways to build ships and heal the sick. But more than that, it has shown us what we can accomplish when different species work together." Kethaval's skin shifted to the bright blue patterns of great honor. "That is why I wish to offer something that has never been offered before in Zephyrian history. I propose a formal alliance between our peoples. Not just friendship, but a promise to help each other always. The humans accept," Admiral Collins said without hesitation. "From this day forward, Earth and the Zephyrian people are allies." Both commanders signed the alliance document using a pen that had been specially made for this moment. Half of it was human technology, half was Zephyrian crystal work. It was a perfect symbol of what they had built together. As the ceremony continued, there were many emotional goodbyes happening throughout both fleets. Chief Engineer Sam Parker hugged his friend Kelness tightly. I will miss working with you, old friend, Sam said. You taught me things about engineering that humans never thought of. Kelnus's skin showed the deep purple patterns of great sadness mixed with joy. And you taught me that the best machines are not the most powerful ones, but the safest ones. I will remember this always. Sam pulled out a small device from his pocket. This is a human communication device. It has been modified to work across any distance, even between galaxies. Whenever you need help with an engine problem, just call me. Kelnus gave Sam a small crystal in return. This contains all of our knowledge about gravity manipulation. Use it to make human ships even better. And remember that Zephyrians always help their friends. In the medical bay, Dr. Jenny Walsh was saying goodbye to Dr. Nithara. The Zephyrian doctor had become very skilled at human healing methods, and Jenny had learned amazing things about alien medicine. You saved so many of our children, Dr. Nithara said in careful English. How can we ever thank you enough? By keeping them healthy and happy, Jenny replied with tears in her eyes. And by teaching other species the things we learned together. Medicine should belong to everyone. Dr. Nithara gave Jenny a small medical scanner that was far more advanced than anything humans had. This will help you heal people better. And this, she handed over a data crystal, contains our entire medical knowledge. Share it with all human doctors. The most touching goodbye was between the leaders themselves. Captain Jake Morrison and Commander Kethval had become true friends during the long months of working together. You changed everything for us, Kethval said as they stood together on the observation deck one last time. Before we met humans, we believed that strength meant never needing help. Now we know that real strength means helping others. You changed us too, Jake replied. You showed us what courage really looks like. Flying through space for 3 years to save your people, never giving up hope even when everything seemed impossible. That's the kind of courage we want to learn from. Kethval smiled, which was something Zephyrians rarely did. Perhaps our children will grow up in a galaxy where species help each other instead of fighting. That would be a good legacy for both our peoples. The departure ceremony began with music from both species playing together. Human musicians had learned to play Zephyrian crystal instruments, while Zephyrian singers had learned human songs. The sound was beautiful and strange, like nothing either species had heard before. Sub-Commander Veltara presented Dr. Lisa Stone with a special gift, a translation device that would help humans communicate with any species they met in the future. You gave us the gift of understanding, Veltara said. Now we give it to you to share with others. Even Zaktar, the young warrior who had tried to sabotage the repairs, came to say goodbye. He had learned an important lesson about what it really meant to be strong and honorable. I was wrong to try to stop you from helping us, he told Colonel Beth Turner. I thought accepting help made us weak, but I see now that refusing help when people need it is the real weakness. It takes courage to admit when you're wrong, Beth replied. That makes you stronger than before. As the Zephyrian fleet prepared to leave, their engines glowed with the combined light of human and alien technology. The ships were not just repaired. They were better than they had ever been. They could travel faster and safer, and they carried new knowledge that would help them build a better life on their new homeworld. The human fleet formed an honor guard as the alien ships began to move. Slowly, gracefully, the 12 massive Zephyrian vessels turned toward deep space and activated their faster-than-light drives. Captain Morrison watched from his bridge as the alien ships disappeared into bright flashes of light. In a few days, they would reach their new home in the Andromeda Galaxy. There they would build new cities and raise their children in safety. But this was not really an ending. It was a beginning. 5 years later, the galaxy was a different place. The Human-Zephyrian alliance had inspired other species to work together instead of fighting. Trade routes connected dozens of worlds. Medical knowledge was shared freely between species. New technologies were developed by teams of scientists from many different planets. When other species found themselves in trouble, they knew they could call for help. And help would always come, because that was what good people did for each other. The universe was still big and dangerous, but it was no longer cold and empty. It was full of friends,